Hi, Johnny NYC here with another video, and in this video we're going to be talking about something the Democrats are pushing and pushing and pushing, and it's about the Dreamers Act. Now, the Dreamers Act is something that the president, Donald Trump, wants to eliminate in order to stop this insanity of people trying to get into the country, giving birth here, and then eventually, getting American birth certificates for their kids and then leaving the country. Now, the other thing that the president wants to put a stop to is the fact that illegal aliens come here and bring their children. And let's say, for instance, they get deported. They don't deport the children sometimes. The children stay behind or go live with relatives or, go live with, guardians or whatever. They go and live and they stay here, indefinitely. So, but they are still illegal. There are still illegal aliens because they came into the country illegally with their parents. Now, that's pretty messed up to teach your kids to be a criminal at a young age. Now, you're doing something wrong. You shouldn't do it. People should just stay home and make their country better. Leaving their country, coming here, and making it harder for people trying to make their country better in the United States because they're a burden to the taxpayer. They're a burden to labor. They're a burden to politics because you have these politicians, Nancy Pelosi and all the Democrats, all they do is try and get more illegal aliens to come to this country. That's like their job, is to allow aliens illegally to come in here when there's thousands of people that have legal documents that are waiting to come into the country. Like, they don't care about that because, see, they don't want people who are sensible. They don't want people who could potentially vote against them because people who abide by the law don't agree with politicians who preach to break the law, who promote breaking the law. Because when you promote breaking the law, any law, it just makes it harder for other people not to break the law. So that's why we have hordes of people breaking into this country. There are people actually coming from other countries, sneaking into the United States through Mexico. It's not only Guatemalans, Hondurans, Mexicans, it's people from Africa now, people from Canada, people from Europe, people from the Middle East, people from Asia. All they got to do is get a ticket, fly to Mexico, and just walk up to the border. And that's what they do. I mean, if you can get a visa to go to Mexico and say, like, I'm going to be there for 2 weeks, that's all you need is 2 weeks. You could walk right up to the border. No one's going to stop you. No one's going to question you. The police are not going to bother you. As long as you don't, break the law in Mexico, you're good. Which probably they're not going to break the law in Mexico because as long as they stay there legally, they're fine. Because if Mexico finds out they're there illegally, Mexico will instantly deport them without questions and possibly catch a beating with that, not get fed, not get the treatment, the golden treatment they get here, right? Mexico will literally deport you like that, and probably build the country they come from for their expenses, not like this country. For whatever reason, the Democrats, all they do is promote this illegal immigration. It's not even immigration. It's illegal. It's theft. They just promoting this illegal. And Nancy Pelosi is the front runner, and she's so proud of it. Look at the picture. Like, she thinks like she accomplished something so noble, and what all she accomplishes is to make the president job harder, to make the people in this country work harder. Because we, as American citizens who do work, and even if you're on welfare and you have Section 8, all they do is cut your welfare in Section 8 because it can only go so far. They can only thin it out so much. You know what I mean? So if you're trying to better your life, these people breaking into this country are cutting in on the welfare system. So if you're cheering on these people coming in, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You know what I mean? Because like, if you expect your children to go on welfare, they're not going to have any welfare because there's not going to be enough money. You know, eventually the kitty's going to run out. You know, where, you know, what my opinion is they should just eliminate Section 8, go to these cities, get these like abandoned buildings, fix them up, and let people live in there. You know, and the reason why a lot of those buildings are abandoned, because the people who live in there are just, you can't live with them. They'll rob you. They'll demand, you know, like money from you for protection inside these apartment houses. It's just terrible. And there's no, and the Democrats don't fight for these people who are already on welfare to make their life better, to get them out of poverty. So all they're doing is they're creating more poverty in this country, which the poverty, and as people see, like in California, people are defecating on the streets. They're fighting in the streets. They're lawless. They're selling drugs in the streets. It's like the 70s again. You know what I mean? It's terrible. Like New York City, during Koch, New York City was a hellhole. It was terrible. It was filthy. It was dirty. It was crime-ridden. You know, that's why you had like guys like Curtis Lewa with the Guardian Angels, because the cops weren't doing anything. So Curtis Lewa took it upon himself to start the Guardian Angels and just be a presence. Technically, that's all he really meant to be, was a presence. You know, he told the Guardian Angels not to really confront anybody, to walk away, and pretty much they were like a wall, a barrier between them and the innocent. So if there were people on the train or the buses that were harassing people on the bus or the train, the Guardian Angels, they usually like 5 or 8 of them, will build a wall around them. So 1 or 2 guys, they're not going to confront 8 guys, you know, unless they have guns. You know what I mean? That's a different story. But Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Dianne Feinstein, all these people that are on board with this bill, and the majority of them have dual citizenship. You know what I mean? I bet you now a lot of like Mexican politicians have dual citizenship as well with Mexico. So like this got to stop. The dual citizenship, as a politician, as anybody who requires a job with the federal government or any local government, should not be entitled to get a job paid by the taxpayers if they are in fact have dual citizenship. You know what I mean? Because you can't wear 2 hats and delegate in one country and not delegate in the other, because we don't know if you're pulling for the other country. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to change laws in this country to benefit the country you came from. I mean, how do we know if Mexico didn't send these people? Or let's say the Israeli dual citizenship holders. How do we know that if Israel is not controlling these senators here, that they have dual citizenship, or congressmen or lawyers and judges? I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Like, how do we know their real motive? Like, why do you even have dual citizenship if you're a federal judge, a state judge, a local judge? You want to be a lawyer, a private citizen? You know, because mainly lawyers are private citizens. You want dual citizenship? Fine. But you shouldn't be a judge and have dual citizenship. You shouldn't be Nancy Pelosi. She doesn't have dual citizenship. Well, maybe, I don't know. Shouldn't have dual citizenship. Like Chuck Schumer, he has dual citizenship with Israel. Why does he need dual citizenship? Dianne Feinstein has dual citizenship. And even worse of all is Bernie Sanders. I bet you him and his whole family has dual citizenship with Israel. How? And the guy's from Brooklyn, okay? He's a senator that's running for president with dual citizenship. How is that even legal? How can someone with 2 citizenships, run for president of the United States wearing 2 hats? Right? He's got 2 flags in his pocket. He finds it necessary to go to Israel and seek dual citizenship when he was born here. He even has like a weird accent. You know what I'm saying? So does his whole family have dual citizenship? Like, what do they plan on going there? of escaping there? Like, what is Bernie Sanders' motive to have dual citizenship? Bernie Sanders, if you watch this video, I commend you to denounce your citizenship with Israel. The article is written by Julie Hirschfeld Davis on June 4, 2019. And it says here, the Democrat-led House passed legislation on Tuesday to grant a path to about 2.5 million immigrants whose legal protections President Trump has moved to end, advancing a measure that highlights the bitter partisan differences over immigration. So here we go again. All Nancy Pelosi can do, is capable of doing, with her attitude, is just impede the president, trying to secure the border, trying to help American citizens get a better life, make more money, pay less taxes, lower property taxes. All she cares about is spending money to help foreign agents, foreign governments, foreign illegal aliens coming to this country seeking for welfare and business illegally. So the bill passed 237 to 187 with 7 Republicans voting yes. So even if they voted no, it probably wouldn't have made a difference. But you know what? They should have just voted no and just went with the president. These guys are just coward traitors, and they shouldn't do that. Will create new legal pathways for young undocumented immigrants brought to the United States illegally as children, known as dreamers, and for those with temporary protected status, granted to immigrants whose countries are ravaged by natural disaster or violence. I mean, ravaged by natural disaster. How is that? Why is that the problem of the American people? If nature strikes, why is that the problem of the American people? I mean, we just had a volcano erupting for months in Hawaii. Did all those Hawaiians go seek shelter in another country? Japan has tsunamis all the time. You see Japanese people seeking shelter in other countries. So because there's a mudslide in a certain country, that gives you rights to come into this country illegally and break in and cross the border? I mean, shouldn't your country be doing something? Shouldn't you help your own country? If they're not willing to help their own country, what makes you think that they're going to help this country? They take this country as we're fools. Like, you see them on videos, how they demand and scream and yell at people. Like, we owe them something. Nobody owes you anything. And even the violence. We have violence in this country. We have like one of the highest murder rates in the world. So if your country has violence, so does every other country. You know what I mean? Go to Cuba. Go migrate to Cuba. Go migrate to a country within your hemisphere. You know what I mean? Why do you got to come all the way here to find a country without violence? So now you're creating violence as an illegal alien. You're breaking the law. People who commit violence are breaking the law. So you're a criminal. You're creating violence, seeking shelter from violence. Trump on his... So then it continues to say, it is almost certain to die at the Republican-led Senate where there is no appetite challenge to challenge Mr. Trump. Well, it's not Mr. Trump, New York Times. It's President Trump, or Mr. President Trump, on his signature issue, and the majority regards it as amnesty for people who have broken the law. Well, all this article is saying right now is this paragraph is that the Democrats are wasting the taxpayers' money. They are just wasting time trying to make the president look bad. They could care less who it affects. It's just a waste of time. How people vote for these Democrats is just beyond me. I just can't see it. The House said on Monday that Mr. Trump would veto the measure, but as the vote tally hit 218, representative majority for passage, scorched dreamers seated at the House gallery rose to their feet and cheered loudly, chanting, "Si puede." So here we have illegal aliens, dreamers, who all speak English. They've been here for how many years? And what do they do? Rather than trying to speak English to assimilate, to say to the American people who don't understand Spanish, right? Yes, we can. Like, what does that mean? So what do? They say it in Spanish, right? Because they don't care about America. They could care less. They want to turn this country into the shithole that their parents escaped from and brought them here illegally, right? So just by them saying that in Spanish makes them rogue people. They're not for this country. If they were for this country, they would have said, we love America, please let us stay. Help us, Americans. We love you, we want to work for you, we want to help you, we want to be Americans. That's what they should say. Not, yes, we can. What that means is, yes, we can. Fuck you over, America. Si se puede, America. That's what that means. That means that they're gonna screw us. They're gonna make it harder for Americans to live here because they're not gonna want to assimilate. Like other people who come here don't want to assimilate. So then it says the Democrats' immigrant measures was notable both for what it did and for what it did not do. It was a grant legal status for a narrow group of immigrants, not comprehensive measures to overhaul what lawmakers in both parties concede is badly broken immigration system and to deal with 11 million undocumented immigrants living in the United States, only to die in the Republican-controlled House. So, again, the Democrats know this. They're wasting time. Rather than changing the laws to tell these people, if you come here and you bring kids, you're not going to get legal status. If you come here pregnant and you give birth to a child, they're not going to get an American birth certificate so you can go back home and have that kid being an American. That's got to stop. You can't come here on a work visa, on a vacation visa, give birth, right, and then say, "Oh, my kid's an American." No, you have to be a legal, permanent citizen, like holding a green card or be naturalized, in order that your children who are born here to become American citizens. Outright citizenship like that should stop, because now we don't need people anymore. We have enough people in this country. You know, back in the day, America was a smaller country. They needed to grow the population. We don't need that anymore. That's it. There's plenty. The cities are already full. There's too much traffic. We don't need anybody. We don't need people cutting the grass. Anybody can do that. Anybody will take that job. Anybody. So here we go. Speaker Nancy Pelosi of California said, where California is a shithole, said Democrats wanted the narrow measures to become law, but she conceded that it was drafted as a statement of principle and a bridge of understanding why we need comprehensive immigration reform for an immigration system that embraces the contributions of newcomers. No. Newcomers that are legal, that come here legally through legal channels, not newcomers that break through the border, that beat up border agents, that litter the frontier, the borders. I mean, the borders are filthy with all the shit they bring, all the backpacks they leave. It's just terrible. They defecate everywhere. You can't help it, but people like it's true. People getting raped, people probably getting murdered out there, buried in the desert. You know, people giving birth in the desert and just leaving the babies behind to die. It's just terrible. Why Nancy Pelosi even allow something like that? She must be she must have a mental problem. For someone not to feel bad for these people that are like, you know, trying to break into this country to seek welfare, and that's what they're doing. Then it says, in the latest example, Democrats tried to use their power in the House to challenge Mr. Trump and dramatize the disagreements with Republicans, sending messages to voters about their contrasting values and priorities. Mr. Trump continues to press for a wall. And so, you know, the reason why they don't want to give a wall to Donald Trump, the President Donald Trump, is because that's what he ran on. And I think what the president should have said is, I'm going to finish the wall, not build the wall. Finish the wall. This way would have made it sound like the unfinished business that the Democrats did. Because when Obama was president, they allotted him $18 billion to finish the wall, and that wall was never finished. So President Obama took that $18 billion, and who knows what they did with it. You know, they just, that money's gone. And we have to pay for it. It's part of our deficit. So it says here, Donald Trump's anti-immigration policies, millions of immigrants across the country live in constant fear that they will face deportation and potentially be separated from their families. Representative Nadia M. Velasquez, Democrat of New York, said as she argued in favor of the bill, let's send a strong message to the world that we recognize that immigrants make America, America. Well, Nadia M. Velasquez, I don't know what her status is, if she has dual citizenship with another country, but America is a country of immigrants, of legal immigrants. Legal. There's a difference between being illegal and a difference between coming in through the right channels. So when you are arrested, Ms. Velasquez, you are separated from your family. When people get arrested, get charged with a DUI and taken out of their car and put in jail, and their kids are in the car, they get arrested. And their kids are sent to family welfare. So what is the difference between these people and other people being arrested? So you care more about illegal aliens that aren't even American citizens than American citizens. You're a disgrace. You are definitely a disgrace. So then it says here, Republicans denounced the bill as grant amnesty that would provide an incentive for more legal immigration at a time when the border with Mexico is already overrun by migrants. That's true. This bill does nothing to address the crisis, said Representative Mike P. Rogers, Republican of Alabama. Instead, it tells an entire generation of illegal immigrants, they should stop calling them immigrants, they're aliens, that breaking our laws is rewarded. It's true. It's true. You're just allowing more and more people to say, you know what, the Americans are a bunch of pushovers, idiots, because they wouldn't give you anything. Mexico doesn't give any handouts to anyone. Canada doesn't give handouts to anyone. Why is this country the only country who's supposed to take the money from the citizens that live here, raise their property taxes, raise their income tax, raise their gas tax, raise their sales tax in order to give the money to these people breaking the law? It's absurd. It's absurd. What they should do is they should build all the prisons on the border. Yeah, that's what Trump should do. President Trump should take all the jails that are in these states, right? Move them all to the southern border and put up, and then that's the best wall you can have. And let all the prisoners live outside. So let's see them now break into the country through the prisoners. In fact, the passage of legalization follows years of haggling among Mr. Trump and the congressional Republicans and Democrats over a plan that would have done both. Pairing legal status with dreamers and temporary protected status holders with money for border wall. So then he goes on saying, so now it says the Democrats now say they are opposed to any money for the wall. Even as they debated the so-called Dream and Promise Act on Tuesday, they unveiled a spending bill for Department of Homeland Security that added no new money for border barriers or security measures. Republicans likewise were nearly unanimous in their opposition to protecting Dreamers and temporary protected status holders, arguing that stricter immigration policies must first be imposed. Then it says here, this is frankly another green light for those who want to come here seeking freedom from a place that they currently are. which I sympathize with. Representative Doug Collins, Republican of Georgia. But either way, either we have a way to get into our country legally or we don't. He's right. You know, he sympathizes with people seeking a better life. And what they ought to do is they should make their country better. Somehow, some way, try their best to make their country better. But then either we have a legal immigration system or we don't. Because when you break into the country, you're going around the turnstile. When you jump a turnstile in New York City subway system, you get arrested. You know that? If you go to the city of New York and you jump a turnstile, you get arrested. The city of New York, in order to stop people from jumping the turnstile, have put in roundabouts. So you can't go over or under the turnstile anymore. But Mayor de Blasio, Mario Cuomo, Miss Velasquez are okay with people jumping the border in the United States. That's fine. Don't get arrested for that. But if you jump a turnstile that and the city loses $2.50 because that's theft, and you will go to jail, right? And possibly catch a beating by the police, then you go to jail. But if you jump the border, you're fine. The Mayor de Blasio, once they give you that $2.50, that people who legally go into the subway pay, right? And they keep raising your subway tickets because once you're a sanctuary city, you're taking money away from the citizens and giving it to illegal criminals. The partisan fight over the bill obscured the complicated political cross currents that have long frustrated attempts to forge consensus in Congress on immigration issues. It was that dynamic that prompted President Barack Obama to go around Congress in 2012 and create the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program, or DACA, which provided renewable legal status and work permits to about 700,000 undocumented immigrants who were brought to the United States as children. Well, I mean, you got to think about it. Do these people come here with birth certificates proving that these kids are theirs? I mean, you know, half the people that come into the country don't have any documents, have nothing. They just say who they are, and that's the end of it. Even the people marching into Europe, they have no documents. They can say whoever they are, give them a name, give them an age, whatever it is, and they have to believe them because you can't call them out and call them liars because of liberals. It's just absurd. So President Obama, you know, thought that it was a good idea to reward criminal activity. So then he goes on to say, Mr. Trump in 2017 rescinded DACA but has been blocked by federal courts as part of a legal challenge that has reached the Supreme Court. The House bill would allow DACA recipients as well as another 1.6 million illegal aliens who are eligible for the program but not enrolled. So these people don't even want to enroll in it. They don't even care. They're just walking around here freely without a care. You know, just taking our money. Probably they go to jail. They're breaking the law, and who knows? You know, why don't they come forward and say who they are? The Trump administration has also determined or failed to renew temporary protection status for several countries, including El Salvador, Honduras, and Haiti. In some cases, leading to legal challenges that are still unresolved. Now, this is absurd. What they also want to do is they want to give people passage through programs. Like, if you're an illegal alien, you broke into the country, you should, if you join the military, that'll lead you to citizenship. We don't need them to join the military. They're criminals. If you are convicted of a felony, you can't join the military. Breaking into the United States is a felony. You are supposed to be put in jail. So how the Democrats want them to be in the military is just absurd, because all they're looking for is votes. And the Democrats are just shooting themselves in the foot because Americans are getting tired of it. And it even affects the people who are here legally, like Hispanics, that are here legally, that their parents came here legally, and now they're getting screwed out of money by paying taxes to support these people who didn't want to get online like everybody else to come into the country legally. And Nancy Pelosi and all her mentally challenged colleagues are helping criminality grow in the United States. What's the next step that criminality is going to be legalized? I mean, what is it? Like, when is it going to stop? Where is it going to end of this illegal activity being okay? Rewarding it. Because all you got to do is catch the illegal aliens, bring them back to the border, and send them back over the border. That's it. If the Mexican government doesn't want them, right, back over the border, then just force them, then just close the border. That's what has to be done. The border with Mexico has to be closed. And I have another video that explained how President Trump put his son-in-law Jared Kushner on notice because Jared Kushner is another one who does not care about the people in this country and is playing pansy to Mexico so he can make his own private deals. And this is Johnny, New York City, here with another video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you have any more information on this subject, leave it in the comments below. Take care. We'll see you again with another video.